I'm going alphabetically this time, just in case anybody cares. Okay, well, welcome back. We had a short break, and we're going to finish up this not council meeting, legislative meeting. And we're going to go our round table and then director's highlights. So we're going to start with Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. The only points from citizens that came to me have already been addressed, so I'm going to say I really don't have anything to talk to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Project.
I've had a few comments from different residents of the town of Vegreville, and mostly positive comments regarding all the activities that were taking place in and around our community, with the addition also of the paddle boats over at the Pisanka Park, and all the activities that we had there, the Vegreville visual artists and their downtown beautification. And speaking of downtown, that was one of the negative comments that I have been receiving over and over again, was regarding the few intersections where we are doing an overlay project later this year, and there was some concrete replacement, so there had to be some concrete removed. Anyway, it's caused some bumps in the road at the intersections, and I've had a lot of negative comments regarding that. And that's about it.
Thank you. Councillor Lemko.
Thanks, Your Worship. I have a couple of items I'd like to discuss. The first one being that this coming weekend it will be the opening of the corn maze. There's a lot of work been undertaken this summer in preparation for that by the committee. A lot of work by Councillor Barry, who spent his entire summer out growing the corn and making pathways and just looking after the museum for us. So thanks, Councillor Barry. I'd like to thank Jameson for stepping up and helping us with social media, working with Anya to get those items posted and create some energy around that. And Phil for having garbage containers and all that kind of stuff. And Tony for helping us with that, but some of the grass cutting and having the park staff come out with picnic tables and that kind of stuff. So it's exciting. We're hoping to have many people come to our corn maze. And saying that, this Thursday, we're doing some decorating. So if any members of council would like to come Thursday and help us out there, you're welcome to come, and I'm sure they find something to do. As well as in the past few weekends, council showed up and were helping us with greeters and to welcome the people of the community and just be out there. So if you're interested in participating, council, just get a hold of Anya and say, let her know what weekend you can come and what time. 5 themed weekends, so everything's different. Come out this Saturday, and I do believe the local colony is having corn on the cob and a whole bunch of, I think, petting zoo and lots of activities for the entire family. And the corn maze itself will have a place for every member of your family, regardless of what size they are. And Dave's looked after that, again, 2nd year in a row. My second item is I shared with council a concern from the Vortex football team. And I shared some documents and the challenges that this football team has had with the local high schools and getting them to support the Vortex to the point where the schools didn't even entertain a discussion with the Vortex. So right now, 5 members in grade 10 from St. Mary's High School are attending school in St. Paul. They're commuting daily to go play football in St. Paul. Many other members of the community are traveling to Ardrossan and Sherwood Park to play football. When we have invested in a field that's probably second to none, the community has invested in signage and sponsored this football team, and we can't get even communication from both school districts who supported in their own communities, Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan, Ardrossan, both on the Catholic and the public schools, support football there. So is there anything that we as a council can do to discuss this matter and help this local community football team, which is sponsored by volunteers within the community doing the work. What we're seeing is our families traveling outside to get something that we can offer, and nobody coming here to watch our kids play football and then spending the dollars on hamburgers and whatever else that parents need as they travel home. So I would like us to have a chat about this. Maybe we meet with both school districts and their board of directors. And from my understanding, it's the principals of both schools who have the say whether we entertain football or not. So that's the challenge that was brought before me, and I'll leave it for discussion.
Okay, I think we better be very careful when we're saying, because I've spoken to both schools about this a while ago. They were contacted, they have got back to Vortex. I know the Catholic School Board, the trustee, Teresa, has spoken to them many times, and so we better be careful just how we address it and how we say that they didn't get back to them, because they did. And I went in there with that same conversation with both boards, and they did get back. They gave their answer. So if there's anything more that we could do to help facilitate, it comes down to, we can have a meeting about it, and I can tell you what both parties said to me, but I don't think we should ever represent the fact that they never got back to the Vortex.
Yeah, Your Worship, I'm just going on what I was told.
Yeah.
I don't know the background information that you're just presenting. I'm just presenting what I received and what I was spoken to.
Okay. And I appreciate your concern. I mean, it would be nice to have a football team here. Okay, next up, Councillor Riddick.
So I also received a query about football, and understand that it is definitely a conversation that needs to happen with volunteers as well as the two school boards, and a difficult situation for us as council to get involved in. But I do feel very strongly that as a small community that is a hub for the region, it is very difficult to see kids that could be offered opportunity locally traveling outside of the community sooner than they need to. There are definitely circumstances where if people want to be professional ballet dancers, we have students that have moved to Calgary to be able to pursue that, or if they're going to move to Medicine Hat to be pursuing hockey. I mean, those kinds of specific examples exist. However, I do feel like this is a topic that has been uncomfortable in the past between both the school districts, and depending on the strength of the volunteer group at the time, it kind of gets left by the wayside. And one entity that continues to be a constant is the town. So I do feel like if we can have a conversation, we maybe should have a little bit more of a conversation about this. There is a volunteer group that is interested in pursuing football, and I know that there's a historical context there, and I don't know what role we can play, but that was definitely brought forward to me as well. So that is an ongoing concern. I want to make specific mention to the efforts of the Vegreville visual artists this summer, and make specific reference to one particular art post that is on the 47th Street walking trail that has the artwork as well as the continuation of her daughter's handiwork and other volunteers, and that was painted by Terry Kubin, who passed away very suddenly and tragically, and was an incredibly important volunteer for a number of different organizations, and right up till her death was actively involved with Refugee Sponsorship Vegreville, as well as the Wendy Brook Festival, Akasu Palliative Care, just to name three, as well as the Vegreville United Church. So there are many active volunteers, many people that have done a lot of good work for the community, but COVID has made it difficult for us to commemorate them. Terry Kubin's funeral and memorial service took place this summer, and it was an extravagant event, and that art post was displayed there and then brought back to the community. So again, I think our VVA have done a great job of making our community a beautiful place to find little unexpected surprises, but I would just encourage us as we're walking early or late on those walking trails to take notice of that one in particular. And I also want to pass on some remarks that I've heard from people that don't live in Vegreville anymore, and how proud they were to see Vegreville showcased so excellently in They Who Surround Us. Not just the movie, but also in the social media and the hype surrounding it. There were a lot of people that came back to the community for that premiere. And the only thing that was not fantastic was the bumps on the road, but I know that's getting taken care of downtown. But they were really impressed with Vegreville. They have a fond spot because this is where they may have grown up, but were really, really touched with how much we've grown as a community. And it was an exciting moment for us as council and community members to be able to see Vegreville showcase so well. So I just want to make sure that we thank anybody that's affiliated with the production, the direction, and the work that Troy Ruptash and his group have done with the movie, and the ongoing conversations that will continue with movie production. So I've heard that from a lot of people that don't live here, and continue to be proud of calling Vegreville home. So again, it's sometimes hard to remember when you live here, but it was kind of a big deal. It's kind of nice.
Thank you, Councillor Rudy. Councillor Warwick.
Okay, I have a few that are obviously the same as the other one. Unfortunately, Vortex was one of mine as well. But just in that vein, I obviously like a bigger conversation, but my only point that I want to put forward is regardless of how the football came, we just need to always remember that anytime we see impact, sometimes it's easy to look at it as being one club or association, but in this particular one, removal of any students and say 2 students even out of here is flowing over to other associations and other clubs, and is at a point where it could impact a 2-team, 1-team type of thing in another association, impacting multiple kids having a place to play. Because if we go a scenario where we could have had 2 teams and we have to go to 1 and it's oversized, we could actually be cutting additional kids out of our community and out of teams and sending them elsewhere. So that's why I would welcome that conversation. So the next one I had was Main Street, which we'll obviously discuss because I had some comments from residents as well. The other one was about murals, activities, and obviously our visual artists. I had a lot of people say that they stopped and watched as our mural was being done, which is kind of interesting. I had a few friends texting me photos of it going up, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And same thing with They Who Surround Us, a shout out to everybody and all the hard work. And actually the last one is to our mayor. I, as everyone knows, have been making some miles around the community, and it was highlighted to me all the work and efforts that they're seeing for projects within the community, how nice it was to see it be busy. And I had Mayor McCauley from Vermilion, Mayor Albers from Lloydminster, and Mayor Miller out of St. Paul, all within the last week, speak about how often you promote and advocate for the community. So thank you. And that's what I have.
Thank you, Councillor Waters.
Okay, that's the problem with being last. A lot of it's already said. Should have married somebody with a, different last name. Anyways, the only thing I'm going to add is it was nice to see these smiling faces on my Facebook post of first day of school. So that was good to see. Some maybe not so smiley, but they were all good. So I guess just be mindful of the school zones. Schools are open, kids are going, and just take care.
Okay, thank you. And that's why I don't go alphabetically very often, because it's always the same order. So I try to stay mix it up the best I can. So basically, yeah, the downtown has been it's been a bit of a, I wouldn't even want to tell you how many times I've heard it. So, but I now noticed that the Public Works is out there today filling in some holes. So we're going to get past it, and I hope everybody can just keep their shirt on. And they'll give us an update later on when the projects looks like they're going to get started and finished. I'll bring that up with Dale's report, sorry. I too was quite proud of our community and those who surround us and the activities that took place, and we did get a lot of good comments made about the community and stuff, and just can't believe, some of the people that have come back home or haven't been here for a while and stuff they were saying, and again, it was just a very well-done community effort to get that movie up and running, and everybody that participated in it, it was working good, so. I guess everything else I have, I'm gonna just ask Dale as you get ready to go, so. I'll just leave it there for now, and thank you all for, hopefully everybody had a good summer, and now it's time to get back to work here, and regular meetings are back lined up again, and oh yeah, there's that other thing happening, or election coming, so. Oh, Council already got her phone on, that's $2. Okay, so moving on to director's highlights, we'll start with Phil Rowe. Nope.
Thank you, Your Worship. Couple of items. So the arena ice is in and complete. Minor hockey is starting today. The Vegreville Vipers had their camp on the weekend, and skating club starts on the 17th of September. So everybody's happy. The ice is back in, and we're hopefully getting back to some normal routine in the arena. The trees on 49th Street were removed per council's direction. We did have them looked at, and they were considered unsafe, so we've had all those trees removed. The Southwest Nature Trail, we're at about 90%. It's all been shaped, everything's done, so the only thing left to do is put the cold mix on top, and we'll have a nice functioning trail that's already been used, being used quite a lot down there. So the trees at the man-made pond, there'll be 3 or 4 trees going in, big shade trees going in for early next week, and there'll be plans to plant some additional trees in early next spring. The paddle boats are being removed this week, and they'll be cleaned and put in storage. We'll be making some alterations to the dock. The water level is down quite a lot, and the visitor center will be shutting down on the 27th, so we're removing the boats this week, unless council has any concerns, but we're down to a skeleton staff at the Vic hours now, so it just makes sense to pull them out. I am doing a museum walkthrough with our contractor and manager tomorrow to finalize everything.
What time is that gonna be?
10 o'clock, I believe.
Okay,
Do you want to be there, or?
maybe I got a doctor's appointment, we'll have to see how that works out.
The wayfinding signage, I have a big map in place of all the signs. We've finally finalized it. We have some samples that are being prepared for town council. I'm to check on that tomorrow and see where our samples are at. And then we will get the whole plan as what all the signs will look like, so that council can see them.
Well, okay, so when, I don't wanna stop you, but when do you think that we're gonna be able to take a look at these samples before they go to production?
But before next ledge, you'll have it, so.
Okay. Thank you.
I also got to sit in with the Minister of Community Services with FCSS last week, and one of the concerns that was brought to the minister was the Alberta Supports building, and we were told that it was going to open September 1st, and we got notice today that because of the COVID restrictions and the province encouraging working from home, that now it is going to be remaining closed. While I understand that, what is happening is that our local FCSS, the people that use those supports are now coming to FCSS and looking for the support here, especially some of the vulnerable citizens that don't have access to computers or phones to do, because everything, they've just been told, go online, go online, go online. So it is creating a backlog here of people coming to basically get supports that are the provincial responsibility. And I'm wondering, is this something that, we used to have, routine meetings with the province on, as a municipality, and those have stopped, quite a while ago. And I'm wondering if council, would like to ask AUMA if that would be something to start back up again. You know, being able to voice concerns, on, municipal, how COVID's affecting the municipality. We used to have that opportunity where we could voice that, and we no longer have that. So, but I believe that came through the AUMAs and RMAs speaking to the government. So, that's all I have for my report.
I just want to ask a question, or maybe confirm some of the information that we had heard when we had AUMA meetings in Redwater, that there were other communities that had highlighted that exact concern. And the chair of FCSS AA, is that what it's? She had said the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's Grand Prairie or if it's Redwater or Vegreville, that the closure of Alberta Supports offices is putting undue pressure onto FCSS across the province. And some of the very real issues is that the people that are least able to log in or call in or use minutes that they don't have on a cell phone to be able to wait online in perpetuity to speak to somebody about their concerns is just untenable. It's also unkind and works okay in summertime, but it's not going to work well in wintertime. So I would say that this is something, was that meeting with the minister with the MLA there as well? Because I do believe that that would also be something that they need to be aware of, that as municipalities, we have a limited amount of time, funds, and ability to be able to deal with the complex issues that happen at Alberta Supports. What we provide through FCSS is preventative social services. This is not our core business. Alberta Supports is the place where people need that support. In that absence, we end up being the stop gap, but that's not the right place for it.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we were assured that that services were going to open up on September 1st, but of course this weekend with the new announcement from the government with masks and encouraging businesses to work remotely, of course that is their own staff as well. So now the Alberta Sports Building is basically closed again to the public and working remotely. So that does have a direct effect on our FCSS department.
The minister is well aware of it. I met with him and with other mayors and councillors in Fort Saskatchewan after he was here for the day. And but he kept saying that there was a phone number that people could get a hold of the people that couldn't go online and stuff. But then again, he was saying that the offices were going to be open again. Now we're looking at something different. And he was well versed in what it's costing other FCSS departments. A lot of people from that area in Fort Saskatchewan came in just to let him know about Alberta Supports and how it's taxing on their FCSS department. So he's well aware of it. He didn't have an answer for it, but he was well aware of it. Councillor Werba.
And I know they are aware, but I do think we need to continue to push, because I'm sorry, this is a cop-out. I'm not really going to pretend that I think any different. This has nothing to do with them making an announcement this last weekend. They could have been open in July. They could have been open in August. So I'm not giving them a pass because they've changed their mind again on how they're going to set restrictions. This is not a regular business. This is not a regular indoor service. We're talking about something that is bordering what I call an essential service. And I'm not giving them a pass on it. We cannot continue to have our own people put at risk, our resources put at risk, and us being unable to offer some of the programs we normally would, plus offering ones that aren't our responsibility because the province isn't doing their job. And I actively think that that should be an immediate letter to our MLA. I understand she's aware, but this is a cop-out. It's a cop-out to sit there and say, oh, because of masks. But where were you open in July and where were you open in August? I don't find it acceptable.
Well, I think we should write a letter too. I mean, what you just said was exactly what was expressed at the meeting I was at. That, no matter what, this is an essential service. And they just basically walked away from their responsibility and downloaded it basically onto municipalities right now for the time being, so. But if we want to put a letter together, I mean, who knows how much longer this masking will be in place. I'm not against the masking, I'm just saying that they can still operate. I mean, if you know, if other stores, mom and pop operations can work with people with wearing a mask, I'm sure that the provincial government could as well, so.
Like, I guess that's my point. If our FCSS workers can safely and within protocol help these people, then the people who are actually trained and whose actual responsibility it is, they can certainly do it.
Okay, any other questions of Phil? Okay, thank you. Moving on to Dale.
All right. We will start with the Vegreville on-site servicing for Prosperity Park. The on-site servicing contract tender, who was successful, was Inline Contracting. We've received information from them that unfortunately they are having difficulty securing the pipe for the underground, which is one of the first things that will go into the development. They're expecting to get this order, a good portion of it, by November. However, a lot of the other parts that we need made of the PVC as well, probably early 2022. They've elected to finish projects they have out there that are re-rolling on, leave the soil on the topsoil on the site, so that we have a good frost barrier, and then come spring, they'll come here with everything, and they're talking about just a couple 3 months, and they'll be done everything right down to the paving, because they'll make it their priority one. They're disappointed. They wanted to get started this year, but if we haven't got the product, this is not a Vegreville thing. This is North America. So we're hoping that the supply catches up throughout the winter, which is what they're expecting, and we can get it going. So that's the downside of projects at this time, and it's all about the lack or shortage of material to get something done.
So would we consider going to a retender on this?
It's not advisable to go to retender.
When the price of the pipe will come down, because
No, once you go to tender on something, your numbers are on the table, it's not good to go retender. Everybody knows what you'll accept as your bottom line. It changes the price usually for the worse.
but their price will come down though, on the pipe.
I can check into it further, but retendering is not usually a good idea. It usually costs you more because they know what your bottom dollar is, especially when it come in.
But it was told to us, Dale, and that the reason that it's more than 40% more than what we thought it was gonna be was the price of pipe. If the supply of pipe is now readily available, you would think the price would come down.
Not all the price was the pipe. That's not true. I mean, that was a good portion of it from what we were being told. We have to remember that in the original budget we put together, the wetland was not near what was required to be satisfied. They did pull a price to us together very quickly, and a good portion of that on-site fee is dealing with the wetland as well as the pipe. We've also, there are smaller increases, but we went from 2 15-acre parcels and a couple on the outside to now 23, which all require servicing approaches, sanitary lines, and it changes the grade of how everything drains on surface. So that's added some cost. So it's not just the pipe is driving this price up. The project got more detailed and more intense as we changed our lot sizes and dealt with the wetland in a way that would satisfy environment.
So, completion date,
Still next year.
still next year.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first time I've heard next year.
They anticipated 3 months ago that they could get the job done this year. Then they said they would get the earthworks going this year and then fine tune and final grade and pave next early summer, right? They always say the spring, but usually turns into early summer. So that was as we moved on. We also have to remember that once their tender was in, it took 4 weeks before it was awarded, or a little more, because of the price that it came in at. We had to then tender the off-site to get a solid number so we could come explain to council once, here's the numbers, not come a few times and visit, and, you know, I need this much, I need this much, I need this much now. So they're using that as well as a potential reason why they're too late in the project to do this.
Cliff?
The ISIP project application was a two-year project. Was always deemed as a two-year project. So, so this is right in line with the funding requirements and the project timelines that were agreed to.
Oh, I get that. I mean, I know how it worked. I just thought we were a little closer than that. The fact that I'm getting to here, I feel the whole industry is gouging a bit right now in all these tenders. And if we're gonna wait an extra year to get this done, or it won't be even started till next year, is there any way that we can try to find some savings in there? Maybe there will, the next year, the environment, when it comes to tender, will be a little different than what it is now. The price of pipe will be down. I just don't appreciate the industry itself right now and where we're stuck at is what I'm trying to get to. If there's anything that we can do to change that, to make it work more in our favor is what I'm asking. So, we got some time to work on this now.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Sorry.
So obviously I'd like to see the price come down. My question's kind of the flip side, be it that it's that much longer. There's no expiry on the current tender they gave us, like any ability for it to go higher. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
When we sign the agreement, it will be the tender price that we agreed to. So to try and negotiate now to make it cheaper, the only way to make it less money is to remove some of the work from them, some of the responsibility, and that doesn't work well after a tender's been awarded, because you don't really get back what they're taking off. It's, the on-site was more than we anticipated, but our lift station and our off-site did well. So out of the, basically call it 3 projects, 2 of them did, the lift station performed very well by tender. The off-site was right within what we were thinking. It was the on-site that changed, and there's more than just the pipe cost that changed it, but it was a factor.
But it's something we can bring forward. If we can know what the price of pipe is at tender time and at price of pipe at their purchase time, we can have that conversation.
Yep. So you understand, it's not the price of the pipe that's holding us up, it's the fact we can't get it. It's just what it
Yeah,
is.
I understand. I've talked to quite a few people. They're in the same boat. There's no pipe available, and I don't know why China doesn't ship some over here, but.
Okay, and then we'll jump over to Capital Works. The 45th Avenue project will start from 48th Street, which is Water Reservoir, move to the Cenotaph, 49th Street. There's a 2-block stretch. You're all aware of the project. And E-Construction started rolling equipment in last Friday, and over the weekend, they've got the paver, the milling machine, they've got some stuff sitting there. They're out there this morning doing some hydrovac. We expect them to start tearing the road down tomorrow. We will give them probably till the end of the week to rebuild the 2 blocks of road and stabilize. We'll give them a few more days because we have to get D&H here, which is a concrete contractor, so how long it takes to get him in. He lays down the concrete sidewalks where we need them. Again, it's a piecemeal, it's not a complete replacement. We have to give that 4 or 5 days for the concrete to tighten up so we can pave up against it. At that time, they'll be rolling in and milling the Main Street, mill it, and then when it's milled, then we'll bring in the paver and we'll pave everything. So I'm disappointed with the performance of Main Street. When we first repaired it and we put the fill in, we took the gravel out after we're done our construction, we put the crete fill in, left it 2 inches deep. That was on a Thursday. E-Construction was scheduled to come in the following Monday and mill and pave. So we left it for 2 days and then thought, no, you drive, it's too much. So we made some attempts at different ideas to temporarily do something because they were, so come that following Monday, we got word that they were going to be another 7 days. So we put in some coal mix that we purchased pre-mixed in Edmonton. We have to go get it with the end up. And we laid that down in a way that would be saving some money, and again, it would just be temporary. So that 7 days goes by, and then the phone call comes in, I need 4 more days. So then, a week and a half ago, Friday, at Public Works go out and put some more in and spread it out, because it wasn't bad when you're going straight, when you're turning corners, it was a problem. And then with this schedule that I just gave you, that we're gonna be probably paving by the week of the 21st, I talked to Public Works and I said, you're just gonna have to go fill it. We can't do this. We can't keep thinking it's just gonna be a few more days, a few more days. They keep pushing us off, so I do apologize. I do ask that if council is getting the phone calls, I received none. We just haven't got any. I seen one thread on Rant and Rave that didn't go very far. It kind of ended fairly quickly with someone saying that, they're just not finished, just give them some time. So I haven't. So if you're getting that, it's okay to let me know about it, because I may have responded a little quicker to it. But when we're not getting complaints, it was like, well, they're living with it and we're okay. So that would be appreciated. But anyways, we filled them all in this morning, and it'll take how long it takes before they mill and put the asphalt down. Yes.
So Dale, I appreciate that. We should probably let you know more, but I've heard from tourists, I've heard from businesses, and I've heard from residents that are avoiding our downtown business, or our downtown corridor. They're basically finding, and myself included, finding an alternate way to be able to get to where they need to, which is the antithesis of what we've been working hard, which is trying to bring people to the community. So I appreciate that this wasn't anticipated, but the challenge is that we've really, I'm sure other people have been getting as many phone calls or comments to us, that if there is something that's delayed, that they would appreciate knowing, because that's kind of where things happen when we have a water main break and we have our staff go out and let people know that this is temporary, this hose is going to be providing water. I think some people would appreciate that if there's going to be a delay, because it really decreases the amount of traffic that's downtown. So even a little bit of a preventative information flow would be helpful. I think sometimes, I know that some of it's late developing and not what you want to hear, but I think people prefer having a bit of an idea, because in the absence of information, they're making it up themselves.
Yeah, I understand. I would not throw out the dates, because absolutely what I've been getting is inaccurate dates, and I don't like to post that out to the public and say, oh, it's gonna be next Monday, it's gonna be, and that just keeps not happening due to whatever's going on in the construction world. But you're right, it could have thrown more out there. We did do talk of the town and some other things, but there could have been something else thrown out to just let them know we're not finished yet, so.
Okay,
Now,
keep going.
I'm gonna, because I'm gonna end this on a good note. Our lift station, the sanitary lift station, more equipment has landed today. There will be stripping on Thursday, and our precast walls are to be here Friday. So we'll see some activity starting there. He's brought in a large office that's laid down there, and so Excalibur says when Thursday starts, he says he's become a regular resident. He's just gonna be there. He pretty much stays there until the project gets rolling. So we'll see some activity there, and we're trying to hook up with him here shortly, because there's a good possibility we could do the off-site connections as well this fall, this winter, because obviously with directional boring, you just need a couple access points, and the rest is under the frost should there any come. So there will be some activity out there starting the end of this week, more than what you've seen. So that's a good thing to get some of this project on the roll. If we get 2 phases out of 3 started this fall, that's awesome. Then next year we just worry about the on-site, and we should be good.
Okay, thank you.
Smile.
We know it's not your fault. I mean, when these companies put things off, or their schedules changes and stuff, but just like what Councilor Rudick said, that it was getting a little out of hand, that we were in a bad light for sure. I did talk to most of the downtown businesses and told them that things were moving forward, but I guess now I just hear that they're not. I mean, it's even further delayed than what you originally told me, so.
Yep.
Okay, well, I appreciate you moving on it today and getting those filled in. That'll take some heat off of everybody here, so. Go ahead.
Just on that, I guess the feedback that I got though was, if we are in a situation like this, obviously the communication was the big one, the businesses knowing, but also if we can always just make sure that at least one end of that block is always open. That's what I was kind of getting was, businesses that are already being really majorly impacted. And then when there's times that both sides seem to be, I understand there's no way to fix it easy, but I guess that was just the feedback I was getting, was that it seemed like the whole thing was kind of closed on a block a few times.
Well,
you can probably imagine which one I'm meaning to.
When we were waiting for the cement to cure, there's no doubt about it, the access was shut down.
Yeah.
But that's nothing you can do about cement, and we knew that was gonna happen, and And I'm sure they did too, but they just didn't realize the length of time and this little curb idea that was gonna be in there, so. Okay, thank you, Dale. Next up, Paul Casey, Corporate Service Director.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't have a whole lot, but I would give council an update on where we are with our tax collection to date, or actually to the end of August, not to date. As of the end of August, we'd collected 80% of our outstanding taxes. That compares to 66% at that time last year and 75% the year before. So, and a number of large arrears have been paid. So that's good news. The other thing is I am working on putting together a budget schedule that will be coming out to council at some time in the future, once we've had a chance at a senior leadership group to discuss it. So
Probably after we've had an election.
maybe, maybe not.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cliff Craig.
Thank you, Your Worship. Back in the end of July, we had a fire services negotiating meeting, and I've been looking at some different fire or some potential funding formulas for our agreement. So looking at thinking outside the box at some different ways we can do this. So the CARES grant compliance report is about 80% complete. I'm up to, or the consultant that's through MDB that is working on this is up to about 15 pages, so it's a big report. The policies, there's a number of the policies that were in today's agenda, but they all take time to look at and review and comment on. So, and I was out of the office from August 26th, and I returned to work today. I had some personal time and vacation, so. But I'm back now.
Okay, thank you.
That's my report. Thank you.
Cliff, with the recent announcements on new COVID measures, where are we at as a organization? What are our plans?
Okay, we are, as per the provincial guidelines, we are masking within the office. We don't have to within our individual office, but within the main office, we are requiring, or we are masking once we go outside of our office, and any public coming into the office is required to be masked.
All our facilities are open?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, that's it for the agenda. Is there anything else anybody wants to bring forward? Seeing nothing, I take a motion to go into closed session. Councillor Waters, all those in favor? Carried.